The biggest challenge that we help our clients solve is helping their online reputation.
Welcome to Unstoppable Podcast with Harry Sardinas, inspiring conversations with influential millionaires, investors, thought leaders, entrepreneurs who are making a massive difference with their innovative products and services, and sharing the challenges and wisdom of how they sold their first million.
What is the biggest challenge that you have find someone owning traditional businesses to embrace this other stream of income or others things that they're leaving on the table they're not aware of, and actually with the business they already have, they can have even large profit margins around the things that they can add on top of their existing business. What are the challenges that you have communicating this effectively to entrepreneurs, and what can we do to help them? Are they really open?
Yeah, well, we tend to work with business opportunity, information products, digital products, coaching programs, that kind of a thing. But for someone that is doing a brick and mortar store or a retail business or an e-commerce business like that, definitely need to be online. If they're not online selling on
And don't
live
wait until
shows.
COVID comes. Don't wait until COVID comes to find out, right?
Right. Exactly. But I think for someone in that specific category, I think that they need to be building their personal brand. Because if you are just like a lot of other shoe stores, if you're doing that, you're a commodity, right? But you have to set yourself apart, and you do that with content and making yourself valuable because you're different. And so if the other thing I might say in terms of margin is you definitely want to sell higher ticket things. So don't just sell, cheap shoes, but sell the brand name luxury apparel, right? If you do that, you're going to have a little bit more margin because those brands are able to charge more because of the brand. And so focusing on your own brand is the same way. Does that make sense? And so
100%.
Yeah.
Because anyway, when you exit the business, what you sell a brand. So and it comes to the personal branding. I'm glad we touched on that, because before in the 80s, in the 90s, it was no social media. Business were different back then. So you can have your corporate brand, and you can hide as a founder just behind that brand, and nobody knew who you were, and you could operate like that, and everything was fine, and big businesses was built that way, and nobody even knew who were the founders or who actually created those businesses, right? However, it doesn't work in anymore. It's the other way around. Now you have that personal brand, and the more you increase your personal brand, the more your corporate brand grows, and you have, well, the richest person, one of the richest person in the world, Elon Musk. You have very strong personal brand. So when he say I'm gonna launch something, a lot of people already
Yeah.
throwing money, and people say, "Wow, that's amazing! How he do that?" What they need to understand that he got a not only someone to create the personal brand, he has a distribution channel for it, which is the platform that he bought. Every time that I go to X, the first thing that I see is a post of him of what he's doing, right? So, but then the entrepreneurs come and they tell you, well, you know what? I just want to sell my product. I don't want to be in video. I don't want to show my face in YouTube. I don't want to create that content. This is not my thing. I don't like it. So, what message do you have for those entrepreneurs that they are resisting to what you and I were doing today, which is talking about the businesses online and somehow creating content. So what message do you have for these entrepreneurs that they don't really want to be in the spotlight, they want to show their face, they don't want to, they're not interested whatsoever in building the personal brand. They want to keep it low. What message do you
Yeah.
have for them?
Well, that's a really good question, actually. And I think it's helpful to define what we mean by personal brand. I don't think that personal brand means becoming an influencer that's famous.
Mm-hmm.
That is a personal brand, yes, but it doesn't only mean that. A personal brand is what your network that you have is saying
Mm-hmm.
about you. It's
Mm-hmm.
what
Mm-hmm.
your network is saying about you. So
100%.
like,
You don't need to have a million followers or whatever.
yeah.
But
So 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 yeah, but from a content standpoint,
so how you
your
beat that?
content,
How you beat that net? How you manage that people say something about you? Somehow you have to create some kind of content, right? Even if it's once a month.
yeah.
Even
Well,
if it's once, I don't know, because otherwise how you will generate what people think of you if you don't have any point of view about anything, because we cannot read it anywhere. So somehow have to create that person have to create some type of content in that way, right?
absolutely, yeah. And I think there's different formats for content, right? There's video, there's um, text-based writing
And
format if
write
you're not wanting to show
articles
your face.
that
Yeah,
way.
you don't. There's the whole rise of faceless YouTube channels and faceless brands. If you can go broad that way and grow a big audience. But I still think if you're selling a high ticket offer, especially, all that traffic has to come through
I don't
to have
think
a
the
person.
faceless is gonna work. Yeah,
Well, the personal, it can drive traffic,
the
but you're
high
still going to have to
ticket,
show yourself. You're still going to have to show
absolutely.
yourself. Yeah. So
If it's a high ticket,
it really depends
for
on your
sure.
goals. Yeah, it depends on your
Yeah,
goals.
I
Yep.
think that in the end, Nate, this is what being in business means. Yeah, you and I as an entrepreneur, when we started the business, uh, we did things that we like. We have to do things that we don't like. That is not our thing, but because that's
Yeah.
what it means to be an entrepreneur. So at the beginning, you don't have funds, you're not making enough profit, so you have to wear all the hats, and you have to do things that you're not so passionate about until you increase your sales. We said, yeah, if you want freedom in your life, increase your sales, because you can hire people better than you to do your
Hmm.
job, um, and make this process easy for you. Okay. Like, for example, to be honest, to be transparent with you, this podcast, I was resisting a lot to it. Yeah, my girlfriend dragged me into this. Say, Harry, we should have a podcast. Meaning, you do it first, figure out everything, and I will do it. That's how. So my girlfriend really had this beautiful idea to have the podcast, and I'm resisting to the whole thing because I'm thinking, wow, I'm gonna be in front of the camera, the post production. What a headache! But you know what? I spoke with my team, and I told them, look, guys, let's do a podcast. Let's see how it goes. And my team told a podcast. What is that? I said, I don't know either. Lily, my girlfriend, said that podcast. I don't know. We don't know what we're getting into. And after 3 weeks, they came back and told me, Harry, look, just press the button of record, and that's it. Forget about. Just upload the video. We have all that covered. We distribute all your social media. Everything we go to autopilot. And something I was resisting to it, now it's really easy, actually. I just need to have a conversation with you. That I love entrepreneurs anyway, and I love to speak about business anyway. And my job actually finished here. After we finish this broadcast, I just stop. I upload this video, and there is nothing else. I don't even know what they're doing with it. I know that after a few days, they send me a WhatsApp with, and they send you guys an email with 22 places that this broadcast has been distributed, and how they're
Hmm.
doing it. I don't even know the details. I don't want to know. So the whole point is that if you don't want to do something, or you're resistant to something, um, you have to make the way to make it easy. But at the end of the day, you have to do it if you want to business. Otherwise, how you gonna grow? How you gonna grow a business in this DNA that we are right now? If you don't show your face, if you don't have an opinion, if you don't talk about that problem that you're solving, to your audience. Now, working with an expert like you would be helpful, right? Because if you can guide the entrepreneur and give maybe a little bit of mentoring, how it's gonna look great in YouTube, maybe, and also giving some strategy and saying, look, with that strategy, you can get higher profit margins. Now, all of a sudden, the broadcast become more interesting. Yeah. So YouTube actually start to pay my girlfriend Lily some money. I'm like, these people really is gonna pay us to do this. Now they think got my attention. I didn't even know that they think they're actually gonna pay us to do this thing. So now I got this podcast thing got my attention. So you don't know, but as long as you start to make money, and now something that you resisted to it, maybe it was not as such a bad idea. Sometimes maybe it's now in our head, right?
Yeah, that's good.
So Nate, what are the biggest challenges that you have with your clients, and how you overcome the challenge? Or what are the biggest challenge that you have with the client working, and how you overcome the challenge?
The biggest challenge
without mentioning any name, just very
Sure. That's a great question. The biggest challenge that we help our clients solve is helping their online reputation look a lot better than it is. But perhaps they've had one or two bad reviews, but they are a very good business that has multiple happy clients, but those one or two bad reviews completely mess up their sales process.
And that's the only two reviews that everybody see, because the happy clients, they don't write anything, right?
That's right. Yeah, most of the time. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that we see, that especially if you have a high ticket offer, you need to earn trust, you need to have credibility, and these things are really going to be built up with good content that actually helps people before you ask them to buy. So we have a whole process for that, specifically with YouTube videos and these major media article features. And then what happens is the sales process is simpler, it's easier, because the person going through that sales process, when they show up on a call, they already are pre-sold, they know who you are, they know the problems that you solve. They've been spending time with you without spending time with you, because they've been consuming your content, and it's more important than ever. So we do a lot of paid advertising as well, and 5 to 10 years ago, it was a lot easier just to run ads to a cold audience that doesn't know you. If you had a really good offer, but hardly any organic following, you could still convert if you had a good sales process. And in fact, we grew a company to 30 million in revenue with cold ads. It was the right time. Their offer was strong. But what happened was the business went out. They went up. I can tell you the whole story later, but they ended up going down, and they lacked trust. Their reputation ended up going south. And so, but they didn't have any kind of content. They could have really helped people.
Follow us for more interviews with world's most influential, audacious entrepreneurs that overcame challenges and adversity, providing you with the blueprint of how they sold their first million so you can grow your business exponentially.